Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, a Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and with me today are...
Jake,
Chris,
and Ames.
And we're here today to talk about episodes, technically like 3 and 4 of Star Trek Voyager. They are Parallax and Time and Again.
Oh, and because I don't think we did this last week, this is our episode.
We did this last week.
We did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't remember.
Well, it's...
I don't think they could hear that. Do you want to say that again?
I assumed you were going to
Into
say
the
it.
microphone?
Chris, you can cut things when you need to.
Chris,
I
you want to
suppose
say
that's
that
true.
again?
You really should.
235.
Woo!
Caw! Yeah, episode 235.
Woo!
How many episodes of Voyager are there going to be, Ames?
Let's see, about 50,000.
There you go. The countdown begins. 2 down, 499,998 to go. In Parallax, the intrepid crew of the Voyager, someone calls it, who was it that called it? Was it Paris? Yeah. The Voyager. They wind
the
up.
Enterprise.
They wind up at some kind of space bullshit space singularity, and they are like, "Oh no, they're doing a distress beacon call." And Caitlin knew it in the first. Literally, the call happened, and I was like, "It's Voyager. That's actually Voyager."
Whoa!
Yep, nailed it. And then the rest of the episode was stupid. So spoilers. It's Voyager. But it's Voyager like 20 minutes from now, because the singularity, basically you get sucked into it and then you're...
It was basically dumb Picard, but with a ship.
Yeah, it was kind of like dumb Picard with a ship.
Times Square.
Yeah.
But also with the charming, or did we just become best friendsness of stepkids, step-parents, step-brothers, whatever the fuck. I don't know. Chris made the reference. And I was like, how do you even know about that movie? You've never seen it. And he was like, it was in the trailer. And I was like, man, they just don't trail like they used to.
If I could remember useful information like I remember fucking trailers, I'd be rich.
Is that true?
I'd have a
really
real
think that's
job.
all it takes? Or maybe you'd be a really successful...
You can't really get a job and just having a good memory. There's no,
can
there's
get
not
a
really
contestant on
career.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Jeopardy.
you could be Ken Jennings.
But what I mean is,
That's about
if
it.
I had a good memory, I'd have a better degree, because I could have studied something useful.
You still wouldn't have. Having a good memory.
Oh God! Wow! Shots fired.
Anyway.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that you're lazy. I mean, I don't...
You're not wrong, but
No,
please, press on.
I don't mean it. Anyway, but that's really not the interesting part of the episode. Oh, well, assuming there is one. But that it isn't. If there is, that isn't it. But the more interesting part is, you know, last week we were just kind of like, that's all right, the Maquis are Starfleet now, and we're all going to be one big happy family. And I guess this episode was them trying to prove that wasn't the case, because B'Elanna Torres punched some douchebag-looking motherfucker down in engineering in the face and broke his nose. And Chakotay's all like, oh, if you would have hit him hard enough, you would have killed him. And she was like, damn, should have hit him harder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, wait, that was me. I was thinking that. And Chipotle is like, listen, Janeway, you don't treat my crew right. And she's like, yeah, but you treat them too well. And
You
he's
are
like,
all terrorists.
and he's like, well, we're in an impasse. But he recommends B'Elanna Torres for chief engineer because she's like the fucking best he's ever seen, okay? And Janeway's like, fine, I'll consider it, whatever. But I don't know what happens. They have a staff meeting. Kes and Neelix show up and are like, oh, we're here for the staff meeting. You didn't invite us to. Fucking assholes. And I thought about the problem with Kes, and I'll talk to you about it later.
Neat.
Remind me. Anyway.
Is it the wig? It's probably
It's the wig. No.
So bad.
Very bad.
Anyway, I don't know. They are going to the singularity to save whomever is sending out the thing, but then they're like, oh no, it's us! And I don't even really remember why this happens.
The shenanigans with the Doctor, that's why.
Oh, was that episode?
Yep.
That's right. Oh, and he's like... Okay, so the Doctor is shrinking, and he's angry because no one is paying any attention to him. No one tells him anything. So I guess, like, the EMH's character is just, like, he's a middle child or something. But they wind up, but for some reason that I can't remember, Janeway and Torres decide that they're going to go for, like, a little fly.
They have to shoot warp particles at a tear in
Yeah.
Oh, right, because they're
Space.
trying to see if they can find it so they can get out of the
They
singularity,
need to
right?
fist that singularity.
No,
Oh,
I
that's
think-
right. They said something about widening the hole, right? I
Yeah.
feel like I was sitting there
They-
like, they gotta go
they need to
widen the
say,
hole.
Sometimes you gotta punch through.
gross.
But I think
I
what it was
did
is-
think of you, Jake. I had a twinkle in my eye.
I think Voyager shot the warp particles. They had to shoot a deuterium beam or
Oh,
something.
God.
Yeah,
there's more
the
technobabble?
warp particles are for something else. That the warp particles were to detect where the hole was. They needed to send, and like that. This is a classic fucking problem with Voyager that people have talked about for years.
Excuse me, we're trying to get through the submarine.
Oh, I thought we were done. Okay,
No.
sorry.
We're
It's a-
still stuck in
No,
the vortex.
I'm just trying to remember why the fuck they went out in the
They
stupid
had to
thing.
shoot a beam at the hole.
Okay, so they're,
Nagilum is here and he's trapped
They had
us.
to lube
they're
it
gonna
up.
they're gonna punch through that hole. But while that's happening, Janeway and Torres, their newfound best friendship, now they have to, as they're out there in their roundabout or whatever, they're
Just a
like
couple.
oh shit, which one? There's two Voyagers, which one's real? And Torres, well, it's obviously this one because it's facing the right direction. No, Janeway says that. And Torres is like, no, but it's closer to the rip and da-da-da-da. But then Janeway is like, oh, but it's the one that's closer to the rip is the fake one because it's 20 minutes behind us or what fucking ever. So they do pick the right ship and get on it and they fly out of they punch through the butthole of the singularity and Torres becomes chief engineer. The end. Anyway, go ahead.
Diarrhea.
What were you saying, Jake?
Yeah, so, and I feel like this comes up in both episodes this week. And I feel like one of the large complaints that people have levied against Voyager is that it's the technobabble. And, like, it was very evident. And I know that, like, Star Trek isn't exactly a bastion of scientific accuracy.
No.
But there were so many cringe-worthy, like, science things brought up in this. Like, when Neelix is explaining to Kess what a singularity is.
Yeah.
And like,
not a singularity.
the event horizon.
Event,
Yeah, he's like, it's like a giant energy field that surrounds the thing. No, what? What are you fucking...
Chris was like, it's like a water balloon and something bad happens.
And then, like, maybe there's some other future in the future. There's a different definition for what an event horizon is. But what they're in, if they were in the event horizon of a singularity,
They'd be dead.
you can't. That's the whole point.
Sorry, but what is
It's basically
what is an event horizon?
the point of
please?
no return with a black hole.
It's where, yeah.
Yeah, but if their ship is only 20 minutes away in the future, then they're not in the event horizon yet.
But they were stuck in the event horizon. That's what they had to punch out of.
Son of a bitch.
They were inside the event horizon. It was like a big shell.
Yeah, it's either the edge of the black hole or a very scary movie starring Sam Neill.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and like, I can be okay with scientific inaccuracy in my Star Trek, whatever. But it just, I don't know. And then they just keep throwing out words, warp particles,
Deuteron beams.
deuteron beam, duty beam. And it's just like, come on, guys. Like, just say you're going to use the main deflector.
Yeah.
That's what they did on TNG.
Mhm.
Just say you're going to polarize the main deflector. That's all we need to know, and we'll get it.
No, I did think it was cute when Janeway and Torres bonded over sciencing hard.
Yeah, that was nice. And I like that they at least paid an episode's worth of lip service to the difficulties integrating the two crews.
Is that going to go away real fast?
I mean, there's at least one character who's never quite happy with the situation, and it keeps coming up. But I feel like for the most part,
Place your bets on who that is.
our
I bet it's Lieutenant Carey.
Oh, I was gonna guess it was Chipotle.
Neelix.
No, he's all right.
Yeah, he hates that there's two different groups. But he doesn't get to be a part of either of them.
Yeah, but our
I
main
wasn't
characters are
invited to this
now,
meeting.
as far as I can recall, our main characters are running a big happy family now.
I also appreciate that they do keep in mind, at least here, I forget how much they stick with it, but the fact that unlike previous sort of captains we've seen before, Janeway came up via the science branch,
Yeah, I like that. That's fun.
because as far as we know, everyone else just kind of came up through command.
I don't know. Picard was an archaeologist or some shit, right?
I don't think it's hobby.
Yeah, like, it was only in the lame universe that he was ever a proper scientist.
Yeah. No, at the end, it's fairly nice, because, you see Janeway doing some sciencing, and you're like, yeah, you know this science. And she and B'Elanna both take the conundrum at the end of which ship is the right ship. Oh, God, stun both of them, like you do with Kirk. And B'Elanna is looking at it from this perspective of an engineer, of which one logically and engineerically would be the correct ship. But Janeway looks at it from a scientist's point of view of what would actually be the thing that they're trying to do in this weird time situation.
But which ship contained the iocane powder?
Both of them.
Caitlin knows.
Ah.
Humanity has spent centuries developing an immunity.
Centuries. He looked good for centuries old.
Yeah. Now here's the thing, though.
One of the ships would be 2 crew members fewer. Mm-hmm. The internet has pointed that out.
Yeah. Well, also, like, what would have happened if they landed on the wrong ship?
Yeah, I don't know.
Wouldn't they just
I kind of want to know. Would they fall through the floors because they're in the wrong...
Is there because they say it shows up the same on sensors, so it's a real ship.
Might they have been stuck there if they had got on the wrong ship?
I would guess.
Would there be another Janeway and another B'Elanna running around and they could touch dicks?
Maybe it would be like Dumb Picard. Maybe that ship... See, okay, here's a more interesting episode. They picked the wrong ship. They watch Voyager try to escape through the hole on its own, and it crashes and blows up.
This is a good episode.
Laugh.
And then, but then we flip perspectives to the crew on the ship that's there, and they've just seen this happen, and they're looking 20 minutes in the future at another Voyager, and then they have to solve the problem, and then the B'Elanna and
but then
Janeway
it's literally Times Square again.
No, but they actually work, but they're not. The thing is, they're not mute, so they have to work together to solve the problem. And they're like, well, it's great, now we have 2 captains and 2 chief engineers. This is great, but then as soon as they leave the singularity, two of them vanish.
It's sort of a
okay.
weird...
I was going to say, otherwise you're stuck with the Farscape problem. I'll not spoil any more of it for Chris and Caitlin for when we one day watch it all. But hot damn Farscape.
But yeah, it feels like a weird bastard child of Dumb Picard and, Frasier on the Bozeman.
Yeah. And a little bit where Silence Has Lease. And a little bit any of the ones where the Enterprise is stuck in an anomaly of
That's what I was thinking as I watched this one, though. It's like, this is them very firmly planting their flag of, we're gonna do some TNG shit. Are you happy?
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
And like...
Oh, yeah, but it is just as a thesis statement. It was very plain, It was like, all right, people were annoyed at DS9. Here.
And, the purpose of the episode is very clearly the B'Elanna plot. Like, the singularity is incidental to that.
Yeah, exactly.
So much so that they're banking on you not remembering it, so that next week when they give you the same episode, you're like, oh, but it's different, because last week B'Elanna and Janeway became friends, and this week nothing interesting happened.
Oh, I
there was
like
an
Time
annoying
again.
child.
Oh, boy.
I like the end of Time. We'll get to the Time again in a minute.
Yeah, it's different. What else happened? I really could have done without the Doctor is shrinking plot.
That seemed very much like it didn't fit this episode.
Also, the special effects for it were
terrible.
garbage. They were
Oh
really
my god,
bad.
yeah. It was like a fucking funhouse mirror.
Like, I get that at the end it ended up weirdly tying into, like, it gave B'Elanna the idea she needed. But it's like, you're actually kind of trying to have this thing where...
It's practically a Murder, She Wrote episode in that way.
Yeah.
Ugh. I was sick of it when Jessica was doing it.
But, it's weird because they're doing this ridiculous... The Doctor is shrinking, but they're also sort of trying to do, like... People are sort of just treating him as a program, which he is, but the problem is he's also their only doctor. So they want it to be kind of serious, but they completely undercut it with this comedy shrinky doctor.
Very goofy effect, and Robert Picardo cracking wise a lot.
Yeah, it's like it was at first. It
Out
was,
of place.
Yeah, when it was just him and Cass, and she's like, "So what's your name anyway?" And he was just like, "Well, they never thought I'd need one." And the one person who's kind of treating him as a person.
Yeah,
and
he's an alien.
Yeah, and he's clearly confused because he's not. I think I said, on the one hand, he's a self-aware AI, but he also is okay with being AI at least right now. Like he at this moment doesn't have the data thing, His whole thing is like, would you please find a replacement so you can stop turning me on?
Never.
So
to which Tom Paris replied.
So it's like he's almost confused when someone is being nice to him. He's just like, oh, but also understandably getting annoyed. Where it's like, well, I am your only doctor, and you're not giving me information that would maybe be good for me to know. Womp womp.
Yeah.
But never mind, Shrinky Doc, woo!
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that the Shrinky Doc was sort of trying to hammer home that because, they go through this whole thing, they solve the problem, everyone's high-fiving each other, and at the end of the episode, we see that he's, a foot tall, and because they completely blew him off.
And Paris still just laughs at him. It still just ends with it being comedy.
Yeah. What I don't understand though is in the previous episode, he was very adamant that everybody had to turn him off when he left the room. When they left the room,
yeah.
This time he just seemed on all the time. Nobody, that didn't seem to be an issue.
Or
he did mention it again though. He was like, "Can you turn me off when you leave?"
Yeah, he said it to Kes, but otherwise he was on.
Well, I think that was the second one, or was it might have been both of them?
Yeah, who knows?
God, this is confusing.
Same episodes.
Oh yeah, because in the following episode. He meets Kes again, and doesn't know who she is,
which is weird,
and has to be explained
kind of
who she is.
Well, I mean, I guess he knew who she was, but he didn't realize she wasn't
a crew member.
Yeah, he's only now realizing he doesn't have any data on her.
Why
beyond...
don't I? Oh
right, yeah. Where's your brain?
Yeah, but that's where he was turn me off before you leave and call me in the morning. The issue with this one was less that people kept remembering to turn him off, but then the confusing was who keeps turning him back on so he can call and be annoyed.
He might just have a parrot in there that the only thing it knows is computer EMH.
So can anybody that's in the room say computer end program?
Seems so.
So if you
why can't he say it?
If you wanted to be a real dick, you could walk in while he's performing surgery and be like, computer end program.
Yeah. I mean, hell, in the first episode, he was trying to make a point, and Janeway turned him off, and he dropped something because it had been in his hand. It wasn't part of his program.
Yeah, but I wonder if he can lock it out if he's doing something really important,
That's a good question.
Cutting into somebody's brain.
I'm gonna go with no because Starfleet somehow never thinks of these things.
Yeah, because as good as a hologram doctor would be, I feel like shit goes wrong on these ships so goddamn often.
Yeah.
That I won't know if I'd trust it to not disappear in the middle of surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to be the one under the knife in that situation.
Well, and that's why it's not supposed to be your primary physician.
This is also the episode where they were like, well, Paris, you took First Aid 101, so you're going to be the field medic now.
You know the Heimlich.
It wasn't even that. It was like biology.
Biochem, I think.
Yeah, it was I know what a fucking organic molecule is.
Oh, congrats. You're a doctor now. Sorry, field medic.
I mean, I saw an actual MD on the internet the other day claiming human cells have cell walls, so Tom might be a better doctor than that guy.
Whoopsie.
Also, though, right, so there's 100 and some odd crew members on this ship that are still alive. That didn't die. And I think we can assume that the majority of them are Starfleet, and then there's a handful of Maquis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Tom Paris with one semester of biochem is the best fucking medical...
Apparently their entire medical staff was in sickbay when it exploded. No one was off shift or in a different part of the ship.
What are the rest of the crew doing on this ship?
Drugs.
Because it seems like, and I guess this is true of, any Star Trek show, but it stands out on Voyager, I think, because Voyager was intended to be a science vessel, right? That was what I thought we were, and that's why Janeway's the captain, because she's a scientist.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like
why were they the ones having to go after Maquis then?
Good question.
because for some reason they decided to send her security chief and not like Mr. Worf.
Were they not? Were they the only
Worf
ship in
would
the
be
quadrant?
terrible undercover.
That's true.
So one could assume, though, that many of the crew people are probably scientists.
Except you don't see a ton of blue shirts.
But wait, that also means that all of them have taken biology.
Which means a lot of them have
Probably.
probably taken biology.
I mean, that random Maquis blue shirt they have is probably better qualified, even though I think she's a science officer.
Seska?
Is that who that is?
That's
Okay.
Seska.
Fresca?
Fresca.
She sounds
Oh.
delicious
We'll get to
and
know her
refreshing.
better.
We already know Seska because her actress, Martha Hackett, played Terul, that Romulan we never met again after the search.
Oh,
I don't remember that.
okay.
The
Remember,
search.
we first get the Defiant, and we're like, okay, we have to have the Romulan on board because she has to be the one that shows us how to do the
Oh,
cloak.
someone needs to teach us how to cloak.
Yeah, she has to always be on board because, it's their technology. And then she vanished after a fucking episode.
Yeah, I thought she was
Because
familiar.
they learned everything they could from her.
Yeah, we'll see more Seska.
She got caught up in some kind of convoluted Romulan plan that didn't make any sense.
Any Romulan plan.
She just somehow, by the end of the war, she was somehow postmaster general of a small town in Wyoming.
Are there like weekend brunch plans this confusing?
Yes.
Like, is it all plans? Every plan?
They
Plans all the way down.
yeah, they
Like,
cannot.
I'm gonna go to the supermarket, but I have to trick someone into giving me a ride there for free.
You know what else we don't see on
What's
the
wrong with you
Voyager?
people?
You don't see a lot of aliens. It's
No, that's
mostly
true.
humans.
Fucking racists.
Starfleet's pretty racist.
That's true.
Yeah, in the Enterprise, there were Bolians, there was
Well, the Enterprise...
Bolians.
The Enterprise was meant for families, and families need barbers.
There were Bolian crew, too.
That's true. We did meet a couple of them.
I just want to see one goddamn Bolian. Who doesn't like a Bolian? They're great.
No, that's true.
Great folks.
Bright blue.
I don't know that I feel strongly about Bolians.
I'm a fan.
Alright.
I'd have liked to see an Andorian crew member. We haven't seen Andorians
That's
really
true.
since the original series.
No, there was that.
But isn't that
That's-
isn't that the good thing about Enterprise? Oh no, he's not crew, is he?
He's not, but he's in it a lot.
It's rumored that
Shran.
he would have been elevated to main cast in the 5th season if they had gone.
Yes, I have heard that. Yeah, but considering how they redesigned the Andorians for their one appearance in TNG,
Yeah, it's probably for the best.
he had fucking 8-mile tall head for some reason.
Oh,
Anyway.
so now you're opposed to all the redesigns of races, Chris.
Oh no, I just think that one's ugly. Like, I'll give you a chance. You can redesign all you want, but I'm gonna tell you when it looks dumb, and that looked dumb.
But yeah, so Seska's a Bajoran.
Yep.
We get that Milana. I don't know if they've told us explicitly what Milana's deal is, but I think we know that she's.
I feel
Half
like they
Klingon.
said half Klingon.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
she mentioned her like Klingon blood at one point.
In the first episode, yeah.
Hi, buddy.
I do know they make her makeup better eventually, because we were commenting on the fact that
I was complaining about
her
it.
makeup's not great and her wig is very obviously a wig.
Better than Kess's, and I know Caitlin wanted to bring up more of Kess. So
Oh, yeah.
now we're in the next episode.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I was thinking about how upset you got when I was calling her a child or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll also say, like, it's not a good idea to have this as a character in a show.
No.
Just because it's a really silly idea. And
Well, it's something you're going to have to end up dealing with.
yeah.
Well,
not even that. Just it's a really silly idea.
I was thinking about it, and it isn't so where it's true that it's obviously she's mature, so it's not literally like pedophilia as I was suggesting or whatever, which I didn't really mean. But I think what I mean is that a race that only lives 9 years. Like, how old? I mean, look at Neelix. He looks like he's like 60, and he's one of those guys who's like, "Oh, you're real mature for 2. I like that about you." A better example is like, the Doctor being a 3,000-year-old alien dating a 19-year-old Earth girl.
This is getting confusing.
What the fuck?
The Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Dr.
Like, what do you fucking have to talk about with someone who? I don't know. I wonder what the touchstones are. It's not that it couldn't happen. It just feels like
Good sex.
I mean, what it doesn't really help is...
You think anyone has good sex with Neelix? See, the reason why that makes sense for them is because she just has never had sex, so probably assumes he's great. But I've seen that chess piece. Nothing good is happening there.
I mean, I think the main issue just is the fact that I don't think the two of them come off as a couple at all. Like, they seem like they're friends, maybe, but...
They seem like Neelix thinks they're a couple and Kes is along for the ride.
Yes, because she's 2. And while perhaps mature, not as worldly as him, so she's being manipulated by this creepy cat monster.
See, I think the issue with having someone who, in our times, or in our units of time, is 2, is there's no way to wrap your mind around how did you mature? How do you know all this language in 2 fucking years?
No, that's
how do
fine.
you have all this intelligence in 2 years?
We've lived through Alexander. That's fine. It's
Goddamn
that's not the problem.
Fucking Alexander again.
Well, it's not just that, though. I mean, because you can understand that, like, maybe there's some genetic memory or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, like how cats always know how to use the litter box, right, Kitty?
You know, if they had made it like...
Oh, Blick Black doesn't know, does he?
I don't think they thought out... I mean, it's obvious they didn't think out the
I would
Ocampa.
like to see something to that effect, just for the writers to have explained anything. Like, said, like, oh yeah, my brain has reached this level, so now I know math. Or see a lot of things that she doesn't know, because White Woman, she doesn't know what an event horizon is, so maybe there's things like that. But, like, how does she age? How does she mature?
Honestly, there's no plot reason that I can think of that her species needs to only live to be 9 years old. Like,
Yeah, no,
it doesn't come up.
No.
There is a point in the future of the show where she ages significantly. And but that, you could have just, if you wanted to still have that plot, you could just make it, she got a disease that made her age up.
Oh, like Kirk.
Again.
Yeah. But having this, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. It's like a plot detail that wasn't necessary, and they already have an interesting, potentially interesting species in the Ocampa, in that they are evidently super telepaths or something.
And they're also so cut off from other societies.
Yeah.
That they seem very naive of the universe. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's the thing.
There's enough there. They didn't need to do the child thing.
Yeah, if they wanted the character to be kind of unworldly, you already set that up. She's from a species that has been getting coddled for 500 years by a jellyfish.
That's the other thing. If their race, species, whatever, is so coddled, you feel like she would be even less knowledgeable about shit. It would be even weirder for her to be in any kind of relationship with someone who has any knowledge of the outside world.
That's what makes him interesting. He's from the outside world.
Yeah, it's like Desdemona and Othello. I love the stories you tell.
Here's a better Ocampa.
Yes.
I'm going to make a better Ocampa.
We blow up the ship,
so
and
instead
then...
of the caretaker doing what he does because he feels guilt about destroying their planet, it turns out that the Ocampa and the caretaker is really a warder, and that the Ocampa are a Q-like species.
Warder?
Like a jailer.
Okay.
Warden?
Warden. And that so they're like a Q-like species, and the only way they could do anything is by having whatever the caretaker does is suppressing their powers and keeping them dumb and not aware of their powers is the only way to save the galaxy from these horrible beings. But then Kes, who leaves the planet that's keeping them under control, starts to exhibit these magnificent powers.
May I tack onto this?
Go for it.
This is where Kevin Uxbridge came from.
He was an Ocampa. There you go.
Yay.
Who?
Kevin Uxbridge.
Nice,
guy that
good tea, nice house.
wiped out an entire civilization with a thought.
All right, I buy it.
Yeah, and knowing what I know about what else happens on this show in the future, it totally fits, and it could really fit, and I think that's a more interesting story that maybe when they catch up, maybe they do catch up to the other caretaker that left.
Ooh, yeah.
And that caretaker's like, you got an Ocampa on your ship? Fuck! You
Kill
let
it.
them out?
Kill it!
What are you fucking doing?
That would be a good episode.
I can't believe you took an Ocampa. My God, you mad?
Yeah, I forget if I mentioned this last week when we were talking caretaker, but they specifically had the second caretaker character leave and not just die because they wanted there to be some hope that maybe they meet that person, and she sends them home. Or, opens up other possibilities for them, or what have you.
Yeah, that would be a cool story.
I'm going to doubt they do, because, writers are hacks sometimes. See, here's my plan. I wrote down a very fun note for how to deal with this whole weird time thing that's going on. And that's to kill as many O'Briens as you can.
That does usually work.
Yeah, this episode had to walk a tight line between, being just a repeat of previous TNG plots we'd seen.
But with the new characters.
And
trying to still flesh out the new characters because it's the second.
And I feel like maybe the writers are like, okay, listen, we really want to write a story about how B'Elanna becomes chief engineer and how, the crew relations. And that's what they wanted to write about. And they're like, oh shit, we gotta put some kind of sci-fi thing in here? God damn it. All right.
What have we done before?
All right, Times Squared. Just scribble over some of the details.
Also, very briefly, because we have reintroduced the Rossi clock, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah, we're over time.
And we're technically supposed to be into the next episode's summary, but it's kind of the same episode.
We're not going to have a half an hour to talk about both of these episodes.
Yeah. Starfleet Academy needs to get way better at, teaching? Because apparently, a bunch of B'Elanna's professors thought she had potential, but never thought to, tell her.
Well, look at the fucking goody two-shoes. Look at the shit you have to do to get into Starfleet
No, that's
Academy.
true. I'm amazed she got in.
Yeah. The fucking shit that Wesley had to do in Murdoch and...
Yeah.
Nog.
Yeah.
Nog had to go and kiss Cisco's boots for a day.
So it's you basically already have to be a fucking superhuman or super non-human to get into Starfleet to begin with.
Yeah. But yeah, it just seems like the Academy is just 4 years of people really fucking with you.
Yeah, and apparently, you kind of already got to know your shit to even be there. So, what are you actually learning?
All right, so should we move on to this episode, but with explosions?
Yeah, so this is what, Time and Again, or this episode again?
Time after time.
Ooh, good movie.
Okay. In Time and Again, I once again don't really remember how they get there.
I think they're just flying around.
Yeah, they're just flying.
Yeah.
They get shockwaved.
They get Star Trek 6'd. Teacup falls off a table.
Jurassic Park again?
No,
Chaos Theory?
Star Trek 6, Sulu's cup falls off a table.
I don't remember. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on. I swear to God, I was awake for both of these episodes, I think.
You were.
I don't know, but what actually happens? They sense a disturbance in the Force. There's oh no, that's what it is. Okay, I got it.
Oh yeah, there's a class.
I remember. Yeah. So they happen upon the Voyager is flying through space, and they happen upon a Class M planet, and there's a civilization down there, but there's no people.
What does Kes have to say about this?
Oh, that's right. Kes has a bad dweem. It's like she heard a million voices cry out at once or something.
Orgy.
And she's like, oh fuck, what happened down there? So they go down to investigate, and they're like, yeah, there were 1 million people here until yesterday, but it looks like they were using the equivalent of tiny nuclear bombs to power their city, so what could possibly go wrong? But while they're down there checking shit out, it's like they pass into the reality of that place, I don't know, 5 hours ago, basically 20 minutes before. And no, wait. And it sort of sucks in Janeway and Tom Paris, and they wind up in this civilization where they're very civilized. They're pre-warp, and they all dress as Chris and Pat both remarked separately, like workers from a 70s or 60s Burger King.
Oh, see, I was like, oh, the TOS designers must be back.
Well, the thing is I actually liked the cut of a lot of the outfits, but the color scheme was
Burger King.
Yeah.
The weird hats that the security people had.
Oh yeah.
Oh no,
I didn't
little
notice the
earmuffs.
Yeah, those were dumb.
They're little black earmuffs.
The police uniforms in general were bad.
I just really liked the kind of corset, like, you know, the what do you call it? The lace-up sides they had, and everything fit really nice. Everybody looked great. I think everybody looked good. Colors were meh, but you know. But yeah, they wind up there, and they're like, oh no, let's find out what's going on. And this little fucking kid is there, and it's like, oh, they are bad. And they're like, no, we're not, stupid child. We're just visiting from some other place.
Kanto province.
Something province. Kanto Bite.
The Bento province. And they trade their Starfleet uniforms for more Burger King uniforms. And
It's really comfy.
they're like, well, we're here. Let's figure out what the fuck happened. And it turns out they wind up at like a demonstration of some kind. And Janeway gets knocked in the face with a billy club. And they get taken by these terrorists? ? We don't really know.
That's true. We don't really get enough information to know whose side we should be on.
Like, it seems like they don't like the power, the type of power that's being used. And like, I mean, I guess rightly so, because it does sort of blow up and fucking kill everybody. But, like, all of a sudden, is this the one where they're like, but wait, we can't, like, we have to, it's so stupid. They decide to be all prime directive on this one. It's like they're gonna get blown up in 5 minutes. We can't tell them.
Well, but then Janeway realizes they already interfered just by being there.
Well, just because she realizes that they get blown up because they're there.
Yeah.
So then she kind of tells them everything.
Tom is very annoyed.
Meanwhile, the crew is like trying to get them back, and they're like, oh, well, if we just punch through the asshole of this singularity, we should be able to get them through. And they use phaser fire or something to do it. No, wait, she uses phaser to stop them?
Yeah, she uses phaser to stop them from... Because she realizes it's the beam that B'Elanna was using to try and rescue her was the very thing that triggered
Sets off the explosion.
Yeah.
It was like, let's talk about the beam. It's like, we can only use the beam for 30 seconds in one spot, so we have to figure out exactly what time they are. Or something. Right? Like, what?
Yeah, that was confusing.
What?
Yeah, it was weird because there was like a linear time difference between the past and present.
Yeah.
Which didn't really make sense.
It was stupid. I didn't like it.
I mean, here's the thing.
They used cast like a bloodhound?
None of them have
Also
clocks. Watches.
Well, I was going to say, it doesn't matter. We don't have to talk about this episode since it never happened.
That's true. They hit the reset button at the end.
I know. Kes walks out like Guinan in yesterday's Enterprise being like, oh yes, let me tell you about Ro Laren. No, not Ro Laren. Denise Crosby. Tasha Yar.
Yeah.
Let me tell everyone about Tasha Yar. Thanks, Kes. Cool.
Yeah.
I did really like the twist of this, of, this was our fault all along, because us doing the thing is what caused this, and us not doing the thing thus means it doesn't happen, which means, did those terrorist folk just watch Janeway vanish in front of them? What happened from their point of view?
Everyone's, I think, timeline reset.
So they went back to the beginning of the iceberg? This is confusing.
No, so...
I've gone cross-eyed.
Because it's just that, they basically, the people that were in the following day, their timeline just stopped.
Yeah, because
the
their
following
plan...
day people are the people on the Enterprise, though. Nope, the Voyager.
What?
Which people are we talking about?
Okay, so you have Team Janeway and Paris.
Yes.
They're stuck.
Go team.
They're stuck one day in the past.
The Wildcats.
Okay, and then you have the rest of the crew.
Oh, the other Wildcats.
The other Wildcats. And they're trying to find what happened on the planet to try and find a way to rescue Janeway and Tom from the past.
And they're like a day ahead.
They prevent, Janeway, by shutting down B'Elanna's power beam with her phaser, prevents the explosion that would have resulted in destroying the planet. So that at that point, the time is then continuous. When we flip back to Voyager, time has caught up.
the Voyager.
We flip back to the Voyager.
Voyager.
We're back to real time.
And since they were never at the demonstration, those
None of those things
demonstrators
happened.
didn't go to the power plant until a week later, which had been their initial plan.
Okay, and then the names get erased from the gravestones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
But you know,
They're with you for
really, what should have happened is there should have been a split timeline, and and Tom and Janeway should still be on that planet in that power plant.
forever, blowing up in a supernova?
No, it doesn't blow up. They prevent the explosion, and then
They just live there?
They just live on that planet now.
I mean-
With that stupid boy?
and
Oh
the
no!
and the Voyager just keeps along its merry way.
I mean, there's no proof that there isn't.
That's true.
They
This is
couldn't
the
have-
episode of so many Janeways.
Yeah.
There's this because the timey bullshit in this episode just doesn't work.
See, the thing is, last episode, the tiny bullshit was just a backdrop for a B'Elanna story. But now, this time, it's front and center.
Right.
So it's like, excuse me. Kind of like the last episode where Tom was going, sorry, does this make sense? Does anyone else think this doesn't make sense? And Daniel was like, no, it makes sense. And we were like, actually, but wait.
If you're a scientist, it makes sense.
But now this episode, again, he's going, wait a minute, does this... She's like, no, trust me. But this time we have less to focus on, so we go, I might be with Tom, even though I don't want to be, because what the fuck, Delaney sisters. Like, dude, come
I like
on.
Tom. Tom is a charismatic boy.
I like Tom, but I don't like this, like...
We have to date these twin sisters?
Which, I feel like I brought this up once before, maybe years ago, but Starfleet, come on. Don't let family members serve on the same ship. There's rules against that in modern, real-world navies. Why wouldn't Starfleet keep that going?
Yeah, but now that they're trapped in the Delta Quadrant, at least they're together.
Yeah, and you know who's double mourning? Their parents.
That's fine.
Yeah, fuck their parents. Wait.
But yeah, the only way this episode could even remotely make sense is if Tom and Janeway are still on the planet at the end.
Yeah.
But
and also on the ship.
Yeah.
When they went back in time, it created a separate universe, like separate timeline.
Yeah, it would have been a whole new... Yeah.
I'm so lost.
Now, if Janeway did not prevent B'Elanna from from doing her beam machine, then they would have been stuck in a stable time loop.
Yeah. No,
Is that what yesterday's Enterprise is?
No.
Damn it!
That
Son
was-
of a
No, stable time loop was the Bozeman.
That's the Bozeman, but that's what it would have been. It would have been a stable time loop because every time they would have keep
Blowing up
the planet.
Yeah. Ugh.
It would have been this. It basically would have been the same phenomenon that we had in
Like
cause and effect.
For all we know, they did go through this a bunch of times.
We don't know.
It just wasn't the point of the episode like it was with the Bozeman one.
Yeah,
Really-
maybe that's what it is.
But that's because it's the same phenomenon. It's a giant explosion that causes a rip in space and causes time travel to happen.
So really, by the end of this episode, there are now 3...
Janeways running
Well,
around.
there's at least 2 new... So there's the timeline where they never went to the planet. There's the timeline where the planet exploded. And there's the timeline where Paris and Janeway are still on the planet unexploded.
That's the same timeline as where they never went to the planet.
Right, I see. Yeah. So there's...
And how many of them are they with Kelsey Grammer?
And none.
Damn
of
it.
them. All of them.
Well, infinite possibilities. There could be one where Captain Bozeman is the first officer of the Voyager.
That's also possible. But he would have died on the way to the Delta Quadrant.
Maybe, yes. Unless he went Maquis.
No, that's true.
And so it was him instead of Chakotay.
Yeah, so it sounds like what we're saying is this episode kind of needed a stronger foundation for anything. The original pitch was, what if you were in Dresden 24 hours before the firebombing and knew it was coming? What would you do?
Fucking leg it.
You
I wouldn't
wouldn't
do
try
anything.
to save anybody?
I wouldn't do shit because then we
Vonnegut will write a book about you?
We wouldn't have we just wouldn't have Slaughterhouse 5. That's just such a great book.
See, the issue is, the difference here is like, there's a singular event you could potentially stop that would save the day. You don't have enough time to prevent either the bombing of Dresden or get the whole city evacuated. It's more like, it would be more like you suddenly quantum leapt into the guy that's supposed to push the button that drops Fat Man on Hiroshima, or Little Boy, whichever one got which one. Do you decide to not push that button? That, I feel like, it's kind of closer to that. Because that's actually something where you can on your own.
So we're just quantum leaping now. Jesus.
Yeah. I'd hum part of the theme, but I don't know how it goes.
Oh, I didn't mention. Yep, that's
Quantum
the one.
Leap.
'Cause Jake has sung this on the podcast before.
Has he? I forgot.
Alright, I'll stop
Cool.
there.
Yeah, so if that was the pitch for Time and Again, the pitch for Parallax, by the way, was inspired by the idea of a submarine trapped under ice and needing to get up.
Oh yeah, they
Which sounds like, 85 different TNG episodes.
Yeah, but again, I feel like this episode suffered from that technobabble shit again. In that, because my eyes glossed over anytime they were talking about the whatever.
The icebergs floating around, the
iceberg.
fragments, or what the fuck were they?
The fissures or
The
something. They're
subspace fragments.
They're cone shaped. We got to go to the widest point of the cone, or what?
My eyes just glossed over and that horrible child showed up because oh my god, he was terrible.
Wow, when they were pointing that gun and saying like, "Oh, if you do anything, we're gonna kill the boy first," I was like, "Yes,
Yes, that's fine.
Oh, this is the best episode ever."
Yeah, go for it.
Get him! He's getting away.
I remember just sitting there thinking like, oh, I'm sad. This whole civilization's gonna die. Then the kid showed up and I was like, I'm glad they're gonna die.
Yeah.
Also, one thing actually that did genuinely, like, what the fuck? How are they using Roman numerals?
Yeah, I made the same joke when we were watching it.
Oh yeah.
It's like.
Are those Roman numerals? What were those?
Those they're Arabic numerals.
Arabic
But I know
numerals,
what you
yeah.
meant.
You said Roman numerals. I was like IX.
That would have made
V.
more sense almost.
Yeah, no, it's like because it was a joke. Tom said to the shopkeepers like, "Oh, what do those numbers mean?" I was like, the shopkeeper's like, "What numbers? What makes you think those are numbers?"
That's good.
Yeah, that says my name. It's a novelty placard.
My children drew what they thought a cat looks like.
Yeah, well, because,
And now I disowned them.
Here's what it is though. It's that the efficiency of the 7-segment LED display is known throughout the galaxy.
So everyone,
it's like, wow, they came up with a perfect way
I don't know. I
to
saw
make any number with only 7 LEDs.
I saw a great numeral system that was just, you draw one straight line, and then in the top left corner, the different directions that you could have a little flappy bit pointing is 1 through 0 through 1, and the other side is another 0 through 1, and you can count up to 1,000 using just this one line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. They're using base 10. It appears. So, that's a little strange.
Why do we use base 10? Is it because we have 10 fingers?
That's but that's what's interesting is there's an interesting video I watched where
Someone had 9 fingers.
Well, where like some cultures would use, instead of counting fingers, they would count like knuckles, knuckle segments.
That's right, I've heard of that.
And then you can go up a lot higher. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you count like your finger segments, you get 12.
Yeah, you can't really hold them up like that though. If you want to signal to somebody 1, you can't really just hold up
it's not good
part
for a
of a knuckle.
But there are cultures that have base 12 numbering systems.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which
they don't use the thumb then.
I guess not. Maybe I think they use the thumb to do the counting.
Oh, makes sense.
Does make sense.
Because let's be real, folks. Base 12 far superior.
Everything's divisible by 12.
Everything's divisible by 12. You can divide it by 2. You can divide it by 3. You can divide it by 4. What can you divide fucking 10 by?
2 and 5.
That's it. It's bullshit. And and I get it. The metric system, objectively better. But,
tell that to the British.
Sometimes you want to sometimes you want to do you want to divide things. You want a third of something. You want a quarter of something. It's a lot harder on a base 10 system. I think we'd all be better if we just had base 12. I'm going to start a base 12. In fact, I'm going to start counting only in base 12.
No one's going to ever have any idea what you're talking about.
Sure. Today's my 30th birthday.
Look, here's the problem with that. The only people you're going to attract are complete weirdos.
In base, because today's my 36th birthday, so. But in base 12, 30.
Why?
It's numbers.
That doesn't make any sense. I don't understand.
Look, Jake, you gotta remember, like, humanity's people.
Jake, you look like shit for 30.
Wow.
That's
No, he's a very handsome man.
damn.
Someone call the cops. There's been a murder.
Oh my god, we were at Jake's parents the other day, and Jake mentioned that he has, whatever conference for his work coming up, and his mother just very flatly, get a haircut and trim your beard.
She did say that. And then she's like, have a professional do it.
Wow.
I
Oh, good job.
You're honestly, I mean, because in the field you're in, you're probably still one of the better kept people in your field.
Wow, that's just...
I'm pretty much a slob. Even among my peers.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, the ones I've met in my office are... You're Mr. Tuxedo, practically.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Consider that the ones who work in your office are like the losers that don't realize they could make good money elsewhere. Just saying.
Yeah, they're like the anti-social Richard Stallman types.
Oh, speaking of getting all gussied up and what have you, bringing it back to the episode.
I was going to say, speaking of Richard Stallman.
Do we have to?
No. What was emphatically frustrating for me was watching that they let Janeway do her hair differently this episode when it was a gigantic fucking deal.
That's right.
In the premiere that she can't have her hair 2 different ways in an episode. That never happens. No one would ever think she was a good captain. Fuck you people.
So much.
And it looked good down.
Yeah.
She's so skinny. I was like looking at her like, holy fuck, you are so thin. That's
It's funny that I noticed it a whole lot in the planet garb, but I feel like on the ship, the uniforms, everyone just kind of looks. Maybe it's the color,
Like a
the color
box.
blocking.
Yeah, it's the color blocking and the cut. Whereas, like Caitlin said, like the planet stuff basically had a corset built in.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Showing off
I thought
Tom's
the plan
childbearing
stuff was
hips.
great.
Tom looked great.
They all looked good. Everybody looked great. So. Except that fucking kid. And actually, I thought I knew that kid, but he wasn't who I thought he was. He had like 40 credits or something like that, but I've not seen any of them.
Also, this society apparently, even though they developed clocks, never developed watches.
Yeah, because everybody's carrying around
Yeah,
a giant
it's like-
fucking clock.
It's like, really, you've got this super advanced, lethal energy source, but no one ever figured out how to miniaturize a clock.
I feel like there was an undertone of anti-nuclear bullshit in this episode.
Yeah, that seemed to be what they were going for.
And I'm like,
But they never really
is that
explored
really-
it, so...
I guess they didn't, but it
was
seems like...
as I said, it's unclear whose side you're on, so it's like... What,
I mean, I
what does
think
this mean?
we're meant to be on the... I think we're meant to philosophically be on the side of the terrorists because it's the big bad government that's putting this poisonous power source out there.
And there was mention of some sort of accident in another province that didn't destroy the whole world, but apparently caused some kind of kerfuffle.
That accident in Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Oh no, 3-eyed fish.
When did Chernobyl happen?
86. Yeah, that's
this
why
was
it,
long after Chernobyl.
that's why it sort of happened
why
in
it's
Star
longer.
Trek 6.
But like, because I don't know, I was getting a lot of anti-nuclear vibes, and I just, I don't know, I don't like that shit in fucking Star Trek.
Yeah, it's weird. They don't do. I mean,
Well,
we said
it's like kind of weirdly anti-science.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like this is a show, and we have our first like properly very sciencey captain.
But of course, it's not nuclear power. It's this special magical,
Plaza Fuza.
not nuclear.
Platoobadoob power. We're in the red.
Yeah, one more thing is, should they have brought Kess with them? It ended up being useful, but it seemed very irresponsible for her to just walk in and say, I want to go down to the planet with you. And Chakotay to say, yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
Listen, she's a member of the crew. She's the cook's girlfriend, and she's growing plants.
She is growing plants.
Here's a question though, like, what harm could she have done?
Any
Really?
amount.
I mean, she could
But
have got
everything
sucked
was-
into the past by stepping into an iceberg.
Fine, but they didn't know that. All
Well,
they
because
knew was
All
that
they know is that
everyone was dead already.
Four people beamed down to this planet. 2 of them haven't come back.
Thunderdome.
Well, being fair, that's good. That's really fucking good. Well done.
Yay!
By then they had the armbands, though.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I was kind of
Thunderdome.
expecting at one point for like Kes to like rip her armband off to deliver.
Me too.
You know, and like
They were like, she must be here. I can hear her voice. I know she was here. Rip the armband off.
Yeah, she
that
ultimately
would have been more interesting.
That would've- There are myriad ways this episode could have been more interesting.
She didn't matter that much to the episode. Yeah, the whole episode didn't matter because it didn't happen.
Yeah, like what if she had just like was like, oh my god, something I see them. Oh, Tom just got shot.
Yeah.
And then she like rips her armband off.
Oh God, Tom has to talk with that boy.
Ugh.
Save
okay.
him.
It's okay.
Or
No,
shoot
Tom
him.
just shot
One or the
himself.
other. Yeah.
I love the comment that Tom made when he was trying to get the child to go away and said that he eats children.
Oh yeah, I had a couple.
I loved it.
I had a couple classic Caitlin Star Trek V moments.
You
in this,
did.
because he was like, "Oh well, what happened to that little boy?" I was like, "We ate him," and then Tom Paris was like, "We ate him," and I was like, "Great." And then what was the other one? There was another one.
I don't know. I think you predicted
Something
one
that
of
Janeway said. I mean, not like nothing amazing because it's all very. I don't know.
I mean, the thing is, neither of the lines had the bizarre syntax of what does God need with a starship that makes it especially hysterical.
Yeah.
But it was great. You went, I ate him, and 2 seconds later.
I ate him.
was like, that's
good job,
amazing.
Tom Paris. Eat more babies.
Speaking of things from Star Trek V, let's segue out of doing this, and we have more activities.
Woo!
Because we're doing activities every week now, and it's going to be really exciting. And this week, what we're going to talk about are the title cards for all the movies. We did taglines from the movies last week. We're doing title cards this week. You're going to want to look at them. They're all going to be up on our Tumblr page. You can find the link right here. Click.
This isn't a YouTube channel, Ames. She's like gesturing at the bottom of the screen. Like,
Tap
here's
the
the
bell.
link.
Right
Smash
there.
that like
Smash
button.
that like button. God
Smash
damn
it.
it.
So yeah, we're going to describe a little bit the title cards, and then we're going to pick our favorite and least favorite title cards for each of us. A lot of them are very similar. A lot of them are not very pretty. God damn it, Star Trek. And there's one odd man out that's going to be very interesting to talk about as well. So I'm going to show my screen to these jerks.
Oh.
I like that one. That one's classic, clean.
You guys at good angles to see this?
Yes.
Okay. So first, Star Trek, the motion picture. Very, very classic freaking text. Absolutely blank screen. No stars or anything. Nice, bold, readable letters. You got the famous little line that comes off the S in Star, the little line that comes off the K in Trek.
And I love the kerning of the T and the A and how the
Oh yeah, look at that.
the T is slanted and
It's
very
very
nice.
lots of angles here.
I'm glad Jake
So
brings up
many
kerning.
angles.
It's turning me on a little bit.
Also, if you look at the
There
R,
you go.
the R is, if you're at all familiar with Bloom County, it looks like Opus at profile.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so this one very, very the kind of type that you expect out of Star Trek.
Yeah, I mean, it really established, I think, what a Star Trek font.
Yeah, I'm just
Should
imagining the designer like really patting himself on the back for a while after doing this. I'd be very proud of this.
Yeah.
Next, immediately, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Less readable because of the color choice and the fact that they
And
decided
the
to do
Starfield in the
this,
background.
and the fact that
Hollow
they did
letters.
these just outlines of letters, much harder to read.
I think if the Starfield were in motion as it was in the actual intro, it would be easier to read.
Maybe, yeah, I did take screen caps.
But it's still like, we could Tron vibes off of this one.
Ooh, is that good or bad?
Same year, I think.
Well,
right?
Tron is
82?
great, so I would.
I mean, I love Tron, but I don't think, when I look at a font for a Star Trek movie, I shouldn't be thinking of a different movie.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, this is like equal parts Tron and Star Wars, right? Because they also have outline letters. Yeah, this is it's a great movie.
Yep.
No for me, dog.
I was just gonna say no for me,
And
dog. Yay.
no Opus in the R's this time.
Yeah, no R Opus.
It's more of
Yeah,
a-
that's interesting because they don't do the swooshiness with the S and the K like
Yes.
they do with other movies.
The S is very boring.
It is.
Yeah. Also, some of the kerning's a little weird. So speaking of kerning, like the kerning between the R and the E is way open
yeah.
compared to a lot of the
Yeah.
other letters. Like it's
Very strange.
They didn't do a great job.
Never looked at it too closely before, and now
That's
that
why
I
we're
have,
doing it
it's-
today.
Not a lot of attention to detail here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great theme though.
yeah, great song.
That's the thing. There's some really great music out of this.
No wait.
Excellent.
Not quite.
Okay, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
Well,
We're back to
this
the normal
looks like
letters
a lot
again.
like
this is
the
very,
motion
very
picture.
similar. Very similar.
Yeah, I'm going to show them all together at the end too. But I think what we're going to notice about this one is I think it's a little less bold.
Mm-hmm.
The
there's less
S doesn't
angulars.
swoop out.
As
less
far.
swoop.
Because they knew they had to
Look at
truncate
the
the
little
K
tail
for
on
the
the
3.
K. Yeah.
Yeah, the K. Yeah, the K is a little weird because there's no underscore spanning the R and the T, but there is spanning the K and the 3.
I think they were just trying to they were using the same K as the motion picture, so it needed a tail. When they could have just put the tail on the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not loving this one. I got to be honest. It does not. And I also
Better than 2, though.
We're also looking at a
Yeah.
coffin in the
Yeah.
background here.
Bit of a bummer.
A little morbid.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. I kept looking at all the greenery, and just all I can think of is Jurassic Park.
It does. It looks very. It looks like a coffin at Jurassic Park.
Oh my!
That's Nedry.
Yeah, this is in the. This I like. I like
Ooh,
this.
You like this?
They're all
I
different
actually
sizes.
like this one.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, actually, the different sizes. So this is Star Trek 4, and what's interesting about Star Trek 4 is the S and the K, the S and the 4
Stretch out.
are tall, and then there's a little bit of a gap underneath the Tar Trek.
Yeah.
But it comes down to a point at the
Yeah.
T in Trek, so it's got a little V shape
Well, that's
within
kinda
the
fun.
letters.
How weird.
It's very.
I don't
weird.
know what if I like it.
It
Jake
makes
seems
me
to
think
like
of
I mean,
like
I like it alright.
Sinistar or
I don't
something,
like it
an
as much
80s
as
game, like
I
a
don't
video
like
game.
it as much as the motion picture, but I think it's alright. I like that they did something a little different, a little more interesting with it. I don't like that the A and the R are touching,
Yeah.
Hot.
or the E and the K for that matter.
Ooh, the E and the K, yeah. They're like giving a head pat.
I mean, because the S and the T aren't, but I guess that's just to mirror the
Yeah.
other side with the 4.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I also don't like that the 4 is sparkling.
I think
Well,
there's a
that's-
star
it's-
behind
it's-
it.
But
Yeah.
I don't think so because look, none of the other stars have as big of an aura around them as those two.
I think when it's in motion, you see more though. I think when they go behind the letters, you see them.
Oh, the
more.
title. Does the title beam in, or is that a different one? That could be the
Beam
remnants of the
in.
beam in effect.
Maybe.
Am I making that up? Do one of the titles beam in?
I think so, but yeah.
I don't remember.
No
I tried to get screen grabs when they were as solid as
Yeah,
possible,
which is
which was
tricky.
difficult for some of them because they do move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the more I look at this, actually, the less I like it. At first, I was kind of impressed with the pointy, swoopy bit, but the more I look at it, the less I'm liking it.
It's different.
It is different.
Yeah, I think because it's otherwise almost the exact same look as 1 and 3. You know, it's the same font, it's the same general look. I think they were just trying to be different.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm gonna, I know there's people that have mixed feelings about the theme song for this movie. I'm pro Star Trek 4 theme song. I think it's good.
I don't remember what I thought, but check out the Tumblr. I covered them all once.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. We're plugging the Tumblr all over the place today. Okay, we're going to look at Star Trek 5. So it's bold!
Very bold.
It's the same font, but bold!
It is bold.
Yeah.
Chunky like Shatner's ass.
Yeah, we lose the hole in the A pretty much here. It's just a line.
Opus has been beheaded.
Oh no! This opus is okay.
That one is, yes, but the R and the R's in Star Trek they're dead.
Oh, opus.
The ones in Frontier are fine.
Yeah, why we went bold, I don't quite understand.
Well, they also
Request of Shatner, I bet.
they went enormous with the subtitle too.
That's true.
Yeah. I know there was a writer's strike on, but I don't think it was a graphic design strike on.
Okay, moving on. Oh no!
Oh, that's right, the ombre.
Yeah, so Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country. First off, it's lowercase. There's a lot of... It's a title
yeah.
case instead of all caps for The Undiscovered Country. And then it's this, like, really unfortunate fuchsia and, like... Would you call that indigo?
It
What
looks
would you
like
call
they
that?
did this shit in like as word art, you know, in Microsoft.
I
Office.
do feel like it's probably early computer graphics.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
This is the clearly this is the official bisexual Star Trek.
Nah.
I don't remember any hot bi action in it, but
I don't like that the Roman numerals do not have
oh, they don't have lines.
they don't have
Serifs?
lines.
Yeah, they were just a V.
Interesting.
Star Trek Vi.
Yeah,
the
like, that's an
Undiscovered
interesting
Country.
stylistic change that they throw in there.
Also, I think for if you want some bisexual content, I have a feeling that the people who were kidnapped by... Who was it? Fucking... what's his name? It's Cybok. There was... they were totally into each other and banging all over the place.
But that was 5, so the color was tripping on that one.
Oh my god, that was 5. I'm getting them all wrong. Yep, okay.
There's one
So,
where
yeah.
Klingon Chernobyl happened.
Right. That one. Moving on. We're moving on to the TNG movies, where we just change the font up entirely.
Yeah, I don't mind this one.
It's fine.
I think
The color's nice.
The font's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Kerning seems even.
Yeah, Kerning's good.
It's not a bad.
The R and the E are a little wonky, but it's pretty good.
It's not a bad font, but it does feel a little like generic-ish.
The
Like
E's have underbites.
They do.
Yeah.
But like they kind of feel. It feels like this maybe wasn't a bespoke font. Like it probably is, but it feels like I could find this in Word.
No, I'm sure it's something that they bought.
Yeah, it's something close though. I bet because I feel like I've seen that S before.
Yeah, no, I'm sure this font exists in the world, and they probably just licensed
Yeah,
it.
the S has an underbite too. Kind
And the G is almost closed.
Yeah.
Well, that's alright.
I like this. I do like the little swoop in the A. How the bar
yeah.
in the A is kind of swooped like that.
Yeah, it's a little like a combat.
The more I look at it, though, the less I like it.
Yeah.
Much like Star Trek Generations.
I don't like the T in particular.
Hmm.
Any of them. I don't like that T.
The tracking on Generations is way too open too. Like everything's just.
Yeah, that's what you get when you have a one-word title.
We should probably dig up that old XKCD about kerning, just for anyone in the audience who doesn't know what it is.
Our fans know what it is.
That's
Don't
true.
you, fans?
Giant fucking dork.
We're going to take a look at Star Trek First Contact. Very straightforward.
Active.
Yeah, this one was hard to take a screen grab of because you can see these.
Over.
You can see the little rust bits that it starts off pure white, and then these little rust bits come and they get like gold leaf all over the words until they're fully gold. And
and isn't it sort of
away.
zooming in or out the whole time as well?
Not as much as others.
Yeah, so that's a weird one.
Yeah, this one I like for the most part.
It's got the same kind of shitty T's as the last one, except I feel like the bar is longer.
I don't know. I mean, I think this is the same font. Honestly.
Yeah, this S
Is
looks
it?
similar.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've got the swoopy A.
But it's almost like it's a little more stretched out, like height-wise.
That's what I mean. Like, it feels like the T's a little
I
taller.
feel like the kerning between the A and the R feels.
Off.
Feels
That's
a little
off.
off. Like
And the R and the
intuitively,
E.
Maybe. Yeah, it's hard to say. Just it's just because there's I think more white space.
Yeah.
I'd have made the A and the R a little tighter.
We know, Jake. We know.
I wonder if they just should have gone with a TNG font for these.
Really, that would have been all right. I wouldn't have complained.
Okay, Star Trek Insurrection was an
What the
interesting one
fuck?
to get a screen grab of.
This is so late '90s. It's not even funny.
So it starts
actually
off pure.
hurts the eyes.
It starts off pure white,
Okay.
and then the red. It doesn't just turn red. Giant red numbers zoom in over it until and they get smaller until they fit over the existing white letters.
It's terrible. Also, I love that they kind of paid lip service to having a Trek font with the word Star Trek, and then Insurrection is just some generic sans serif.
It's also just very obviously stretched vertically. Like there's no font that is designed that way.
No. Terrible title for a horrible film.
And possibly squished together first. Squished together and then
But you
pulled
can.
up. I don't like it.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, it's bad.
Kind of see. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, like if you look at the width of look at the E, right? So the vertical line on the E is one thickness, but the horizontal lines are a totally different thickness.
Yeah, no,
which
it's not
you
good.
wouldn't have if it were, because it's obviously stretched, which is hideous. This is the worst so far.
Yeah.
Really interesting. See, the next one I think is
it
awful. Here it comes.
I said so far.
Here it comes. This is Star Trek. The next one, Nemesis.
Oh, I forgot they did that.
I hate this one so much. So what they do
it's so bad.
for the little animation they do coming in is because they were so clever and they realized, in Star Trek, RTR are mirrors of each other. So if we flip the R, it's a mirror. So they start off with just the line and the T, and then they open it up to the RTR, but then they realize, we need a space there though, so keep moving along R, and then they open up Star Trek. And they're like, and EME is in Nemesis. Let's put another bar there and open it up to EME and flip that E. Because it's like mirrors. Because Picard and Shinzon are the same.
And also the M is
Kill
just
it.
an E on its side.
Or vice versa. The E's could just be M's on their side.
Like, it's almost like they're going for sort of like... That's the other thing. All this, they're kind of going for an almost a carved in stone Roman look, because of course the Romulans are our enemies this time.
Yeah, I don't like this one at all, but
It's quite bad.
it's better. It's still better than the last one because at least this one has
An idea.
It
It's a
has
terrible
better-
idea.
The idea.
It's a bad idea. I'm not gonna lie, but somebody
so
somebody
much.
at least put some afternoon of effort into creating this.
Yeah,
I
like
think some of why I don't like this one is because it speaks directly to the movie. Because I found that I'm sure the graphic designers are being like mirrors because of Shinzon, and I want to punch that person in the head.
yeah, I mean it is so obvious, but it also doesn't feel like someone went, "Hey guys, we gotta ship the movie off in 30 minutes. Did we make a title card?"
Oh no!
Like Insurrection.
Moving on. Oh right, Kelvin universe.
Ah!
So much lens flare.
It's an entire title card of lens flare.
It sure is.
But at the end of the day, it's just TOS font.
Yeah, they're at the actual TOS font, not the movie font, but the TOS series font,
Which
Yep.
is a fine font.
which is a fine font.
Classic.
They just
I don't know why it had to be
bathed it in light.
3Dified though. It's like
Because it's the future. damn
Because
it.
it's J.J. Abrams and he's a hack.
Oh, yeah, that's also why.
yeah, this is the most overproduced title card in history.
Oh yeah. Well, Star Trek history.
There's like a floating 3D Star Trek symbol,
Yeah.
Starfleet
The
Badge.
Delta
symbol,
the,
Delta with the star
Command
cut
Star.
out,
Yep.
but it's like a giant metal medallion.
Yep.
There's golden 3D embossed shiny letters with a fucking lens flare.
Yeah,
it's
and
just
the light
so-
moves across if you're playing it
Of course.
in real time.
But again, really badass soundtrack behind it.
Yeah, pretty good soundtrack for this.
Okay, we're not. We'll do soundtracks another day.
No, I know. It's interesting that these two that were like, oh Jesus, it's like, wow, but the music was good.
Okay, Star Trek Into Darkness
I
is a
don't
very
remember
dark
this
one.
What was this? There was a what?
It looks like it's trying to be marble or
Yeah.
steel or
But just
whatever
TOS
Benedict
font,
Cumberbatch
so-
is made of.
Yeah, again, 3D,
Cheekbones.
not great. Better probably than the last
Less
one.
busy.
Yeah, less busy.
Less lens flare. Still lens flare.
Yeah.
yeah, the light moves across. It was really hard getting a screen grab because the light moves. So only some of the letters are ever in the light at a time.
Sure.
I feel like the space between the E and the K is huge.
You're right,
on
it
the
is.
track.
Oh yeah.
It's like really big.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't, and
That's
the A and the
strange.
R as well. Like not so much the S and the T or the T and the A, not so much the T and the R and the R and the E, but those last letters.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't know. I think it's
icky.
yeah, it's a little weird.
Oh
Yeah,
my
I'm not digging this one, but it's better than the last one, I'll say.
Yeah.
Cool. No, I don't remember if I've said, by title card, I mean the title of the movie as it appears at the beginning of the movie. No, Star Trek Beyond
Oh, did they?
doesn't have one.
Oh.
Wow,
They-
really?
Star Trek Beyond doesn't have a title card. They have an end credits card. Because they literally had no opening credits at all. They just went into the movie. So as I'm trying to get a
Wow.
fucking screen grab, and I'm realizing
Guess you're right.
I'm 20 minutes in, where's the fucking title card?
Because you're right. Because unlike 1 through Nemesis, all the Kelvins, well, 2 of the Kelvins had a cold open.
Yeah.
So of course you'd sit there being like, all right, cold open. Of course, we'll
Yep,
get
yep.
the title after Kirk
After
beams
about
back with
15
Kevin,
minutes.
or whatever they called that little alien.
Yeah, fucking hell.
But yeah, no, you're right. They did, they.
So here's the end card, and it's teeny fucking tiny.
Yeah.
It I would say it starts to zoom closer, but it also gets incredibly dark. So there was either getting a larger but almost entirely shadowed Star Trek Beyond title card, or this little one that's as bright as it ever was. And it's very strange because, in the Kelvin movies, the end credits are just so many effects of flying through planets and wisps of clouds, and here's all the names of the stars and 80 names of people who were in the movie. And then we go into the actual credits. So after all that, the Enterprise swooms by, and it pops up Star Trek Beyond, tiny little letters, and then you go to the normal credits. And I was like, what the hell was that? That's an very strange choice when you didn't put this at the beginning of your movie.
Yeah, but again, just TOS font.
Yep.
And even almost TOS yellow where it's lit up.
It's not, I wouldn't say it's yellow. I'd say it's like a very washed out bronze.
Fair enough.
So here they all are on one screen. Pick your favorite, pick your least favorite.
Well, obviously my favorite is Nemesis.
Fuck you. If you want to look closer, feel free.
Yeah, no, I think I gotta go with, first did it best.
Okay, no, I was right. I'm sorry. I have one. I had a comment about the Beyond that I didn't say.
What's that?
Because I wanted to check before I did. The Y is not the correct. Well, that's interesting. Because the Y. Look at the Y. It starts in DeForest Kelly's name. It swoops up.
Yeah.
The Beyond Y does not swoop up.
Oh yeah, it just kind of goes straight.
But then I just noticed that the Dr. McCoy has a Y like
they have two Ys.
Oh, wow.
That's weird.
I never realized
I
that.
wonder
But
why.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I think that because that was the one thing that was bothering about the Beyond logo is I didn't like the Y, and I wish they had gone with the one in Kelly
As opposed to
the
yeah.
other one.
Interesting.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
So yeah, I'm gonna say they never quite topped the first one.
Yeah, that's
Because all the little tweaks they made in 3, 4, 5, and 6 didn't help it.
Yeah, and 2 was unreadable.
Yeah, so I think 1 is the best. And I'm still just going to go with the sheer laziness of Insurrection being insulting and making it the worst.
I also just find the combination of the color and the font in Insurrection, it makes it almost difficult to look at, to read. It's just uncomfortable to my eyes to look at it.
Yeah, because again, I think like Jake said, the Nemesis idea was stupid. But at least there was an idea.
No, I gotta give... Granted, I also don't like the Undiscovered Country because it looks like someone made it in high school.
Yeah.
And threw it up on a screen. I don't really dislike that one, but I know. I'm just personally offended by the Nemesis title card.
That is totally fair. It is terrible.
So wait, what are your tops then? What's your
I don't
top?
know what my top is. Let me look once more. Don't care for the swoop in 4.
What is the deal with the rusting over in First Contact? It's kind of a strange... I never got it.
Borg? Is it Borgy?
I
I always thought it was supposed to be Borgy, but it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't look like it's getting Borgified. It looks like it's
just
rusting.
getting old.
Yeah. If it was more
they got lots of
explicitly
metal.
well, yeah, but there's their color scheme is black and green, not rust. If it was all black and green, it was Borging. I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Is it supposed to be the rustiness of Zephram Cockring's spaceship?
See, I think First Contact would be a contender if it weren't for the rusting.
For the rusting?
Yeah, if it were just white, it would be fine.
I actually
Yeah.
like the Star Trek 4 one. That might be my fave. It feels
cool.
very video gamey. I
Oh,
like that
yeah,
about
there you
it.
go. See, I think I'm with you guys on the motion picture because I really like the tail on the S and the K a whole lot.
It's nicely balanced.
Yeah, it's really that one's really well done.
What was your least favorite, Jake?
Oh,
All of them?
yeah, the motion picture is definitely my favorite. I'm really leaning towards Insurrection, but I feel like Star Trek 2 is just real bad.
It's unreadable.
Yeah,
Especially now that I have them all on one screen,
Yeah.
and now that it's much smaller, you literally cannot read
it's
it.
gotta
it's
be
impossible
it's gotta
to
be a
read
toss up for
size
me
for
between 2 and Insurrection for worst. I'm gonna give the edge to 2 because, and meaning that Insurrection is gonna be my worst because it's the stretching of the font is the problem that pushes it over the edge.
Well, cool. You heard it here first, everybody. Insurrection can go to hell. Motion picture gets the tops.
Yep. And J.J. Abrams is a hack.
They didn't hear that here first.
That's true.
Everyone has
They've
heard that.
certainly heard that before.
Also here, but...
All right. Well, check out all of this. As I said, it's going to be up on our Tumblr. It's going to be up on sshbpodcast.com. Or I don't know. I found these also on Memory Alpha or Wikipedia. Go find them. They're fun to look at. Get really, really nitpicky about kerning. It's our favorite pastime.
And this really only works if you're watching this. If you're listening to this in your car,
Yeah, you gotta be pissed.
pull over and look it up.
I feel like kerning is just a Klingon we haven't met yet.
It's Kern's son.
There we go.
All right, so we're going to do more of this stuff next week. Check out what our next week activity is going to be.
Ooh.
Spoiler, it's going to be more talking about the movies, because let's get them out of the way now. We're also going to be talking next week about 2 more Voyager episodes.
Which ones?
Hopefully not literally the same episodes yet again.
Hopefully.
Because holy shit, Voyager. Next week we're talking about Phage, good name, and The Cloud, also a pretty good name. I'm into that. We'll talk about that next week.
You do love clouds.
I do love clouds.
If they're intelligent.
Sentient cloud. That son of a bitch. In the meantime, if you want to hear more of our stuff, hey, we've got like 3,000 episodes that you can listen to up on SoundCloud, on whatever the Apple one, whatever the Google one.
On Dasher, on
I think
Dancer,
there's a Spotify, I think there's a Switch? I always forget what the actual name of the thing is. Stitcher?
Yeah.
One of those. We're all over the place. You can listen to us there. You can hang out with us on the Facebook if you search for A Star to Steer Her By. I occasionally remember to put things on our Twitter, which is at SSHB Podcast. Our Tumblr is also SSHB Podcast. Is that all I need to say? Did I do it right today? Holy shit! Excellent.
Good work, Ames.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
This is Jake.
And this is always Chris.
Mind your kerning.